We saw Dereck out there. What's he able to do at this point?
Yeah, he participated in practice, and we'll see how he feels tomorrow.
Full practice?
Yeah, he did.
He did everything?
Yeah, he did everything.
Okay.
So we'll see how he feels tomorrow. He looked good.
For this time of year, how do you balance preparation, resting guys? You know, you got probably a week between games, along with scouting, preparation, and just getting ready for game one.
Yeah, I think just understand there's a lot of film, and as players sometimes we get antsy watching film, but I thought the guys did a great job today of being patient, understanding what part of the season we're at with the playoffs, and understanding the detail of what we're asking them to do. So there's a combination of being able to watch film, talk about the details, and then being able to get on the floor and be able to get up and down. I thought the guys did a great job today, and then we'll see how Thursday goes.
Jason, you mentioned the details of the playoffs. Can you speak to the intensity and the difference of what it feels like on the floor in comparison from regular season games to the playoffs?
Yeah, I think just the physicality, paying attention to the details. We're playing a really good team in the Clippers. 4 future Hall of Famers. They're well coached. T. Lue is one of the best coaches in the league, and just understanding that you're trying to get these guys to their second or third move, but they're still good enough to make those shots. So just trying to get them out of their comfort zone, and then being able to rebound the ball. We talked about the things we've done here in the last 20 games. Continue our habits on the defensive end, and then also on the offensive end. So we've shown that we can play defense at a high level. Now it's a matter of doing it during the playoffs.
It's obviously a different team than the last 3 matchups against the Clippers earlier in the season. Do you think that gives your team an advantage because they don't have, I guess, the film from those games to kind of prepare for?
Yeah, I don't know if it's an advantage. They haven't had the opportunity to see this team. So on film, the coaching staff will do their part. They have vets over on their side, a lot of playoff experience. So is it an advantage? I don't know if it's an advantage. We'll find out in game 1 if it's an advantage. But I think it's being able to play the game at a high level. At this time of the year, it's about what team makes the mistake at the wrong time and capitalize on it. And so again, for us, our vets talked today about what the playoffs are all about, and I thought they did a great job with the messaging.
Can you give us a window into the last year for you, from what transpired last year to this year, and how you may have changed and grown as a coach, and what has done to help this team get to this point where they are now?
Yeah, 2 different teams, 2 different situations. Just understanding, it started with being able to play faster, asking Luka, can we play faster? We were 28th in pace last year. We're 7th this year. The game became easier for him, but for everyone else. We make a change. Nico added more talent. Our defense got better. When you look at the last 30 games, I think we're second in defense. And so being able to carry out the message, the guys did that at a very high level. And so talking about change, being able to change with the team, looking at last year's team was different than this year's team, a little bit more athletic. I think comfort level, starting with our 2 leaders, when you look at Kai and Luka. I thought the trip to Abu Dhabi and Madrid was big for the team, and you could see that.
What's it like for you, Jason, to have a guy like Luka that if you guys need a bucket, he can go get that bucket?
Luka, yes, it's nice to have someone like that who can get a bucket, but also make a play for a teammate. And so his ability to score is at a very high level in this league, but also his playmaking is extremely high. And then his trust with his teammates, understanding the double teams that he will see, being able to get the ball to the right guy and trusting that his teammates are going to make the right play.
Jason, what's one thing that you learned from your first playoff run that you would share with guys like Dereck and Max?
To enjoy it. You're not promised to make the playoffs. The hard work that you put in for this season has helped the team achieve one of its goals, but to understand that playoffs aren't always guaranteed, that you're doing the right thing. Continue to keep working hard, but enjoy the moment. Embrace, ask as many questions as you can as you get going in this first series against the Clippers.
You
You
just
mentioned that
mentioned.
pace that you try to get this team to play for with since the very beginning of the season. Clippers have struggled with pace of season. Everything kind of slows down in the playoffs. How do you keep them pushing the pace in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. When you talk about the playoffs, it tends to slow down. For us, we don't want it to slow down. We got to continue to keep playing with that pace, understanding, using our depth, using that to our advantage. That's something that has helped us this season, and that's something that we got to lean on in this series. Is being able to keep the pace up, being able to run, not letting their defense get set. They're very good on the defensive end. They got great hands. They're going to swipe. They come up with a lot of steals. They play the passing lanes at a very high level. This group that we're playing against, the Clippers, their basketball IQ is extremely high. They've seen everything, so we have to take care of the ball, but we do want to get out and run.
You just mentioned your defense over the last 30 games. When you boil down those two trades and what made them work, is that where it starts? How it changed you all defensively?
Yeah, I think it will start there, but I think also just our ability with D-Live on the floor, we saw glimpses of our defense, playing at a high level. It's just, when you are bigger, it just helps because when you can rebound the ball on a miss with PJ, D-Live and Maxey, it just helps. Nothing against when our smalls are in there. It's just harder to rebound when we do get that missed shot, and that's something that when we made the trade, it's definitely helped us with our bigger groups.
Speaking of your defense, Jason, what kind of impact has Dereck Jones had on the defensive end?
He's been great all year. He's taken the challenge of being assigned the best wing, perimeter scorer. He's never complained. He comes out and does his job at a high level. He's going to have his hands full in this series because it's not just one. They have quite a few of them over there. So, but again, there's nothing that we're asking him not to do. Just we need him to be himself and play the game at a high level.
You mentioned some of the veterans spoke. Do you mind us asking who spoke?
No, that's not. You can ask them.
Well, on that front, though, I'm sure that the Clippers have an advantage. I haven't added up the playoff experience, and I'm sure they have more of it than you do.
I would go out on them. Yeah.
How good is it to be able to lean on a few of your guys like Irving, and Luka, for that matter, who've made deeper playoff runs?
Yeah, I think it's. They probably do have a little bit more experience in the playoffs. I think this is, being able to be in this situation to gain that experience for our younger players is big. When you talk about D-Live and Omax, Hardy, these guys who haven't had the opportunity to participate in the playoffs, you look at, being able to help them through different situations of understanding what to do and what not to do. And it doesn't always relate to on the floor. It can also be off the floor. And so this is good for Smooth and Kai, Luka. I would also put Exum in there. Not you use the European, experience. So there are quite a few guys that have experience. But I think when you look at the group, Gaff and PJ, they're going to lean on those guys too, and that's how we're built, is for these guys to ask questions, but also listen, and they've done a great job, since they've been here.
I know a lot of people talk about the matchups on the floor, but it seems like there's also a matchup on the sidelines. You were coaching against Ty Lue. Could you just speak to, that dynamic and just trying to, figure out what he's going to be countering with during the series of the playoff run?
Yeah, he's great. He's going to throw out some different things. We've seen a lot of different things this season on the defensive end when the double teams or starting Zubac on Luka. So his creativity is at a very high, and we'll be prepared for that. But Ty is one of the best coaches in this league. He's won a championship. I don't know if he's won Coach of the Year. He's probably deserved to win Coach of the Year, but just his experience. He's played the game at a high level. He's won a championship as a player. So this is a great challenge for both coaches to find a way for their teams to win.
This is your first introduction into the Mavs Clippers trilogy now as it is. What do you remember from the first two times that these teams played each other in terms of any memories that stand out to you from what you saw in those two series against the opponents, as I say?
It came down to the end. Just understanding both teams know what they're going to run. Both teams, the stars are going to be stars. Luka was pretty good in those series. I remember Boban started in a series, or one of the games, I should say. But it was just a matter of swings, and so that's what happens in the playoffs. And whoever swings last tends to win. And the Clippers, swung last, and they won both of those series.
Coach Kidd, you've played and you've coached at the highest level, going all the way to the NBA Finals. What would you say is the number one thing that separates contenders that go all the way from pretenders that get bounced early?
That's a good question. I think luck, health, being able to take advantage of mistakes. It's not pretenders. It's just you've run into a better team. Sometimes you lose to the team that does win the championship. So it's hard to say pretenders because it's hard to get to this next season. And so you just sometimes run into a team that was hot. We've gone through that in our first year here. When we played Utah, I don't think anybody really had us pinned in or penciled in to make it to a Western Conference Finals. But we found a way because we got hot at the right time.
Do you remember a year or an early round matchup like this has 4 Hall of Famers on one side and probably 2 on another, 6 in an opening round series? When you play and coach, do you remember anything like that this early?
Yeah, maybe my first year in Brooklyn coaching. I had quite a few Hall of Famers, and we played Toronto, which when you look at DeRozan and Lowry, probably they'll be future Hall of Famers too. So I might have had 2 or 3 Hall of Famers when you talk about Paul Pierce and Garnett. It happens, but that's what the game is all about. You want to go against the best, and we have opportunity to go against the Clippers, and we consider them one of the best teams in the league.
Coach, going back to matchups, you mentioned Dereck Jones. Is it going to be one of those things where you're going to give him a specific challenge to guard maybe one player, or will it be more of like a flexible switch when you can type of approach?
You want me to share my game plan with you?
Just anything you can say.
Absolutely. Yeah. Exactly. I said no.
All right, Coach, then I'll spend with one. With the fans, they sold out every game this year.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you, the fans just doing that?
Yeah, I think when you talk about the fans, we have the best fans in the league when they come out every night, no matter if it's a Monday or Tuesday. And so to be able to have that support is going to be big, not just in the regular season, but going forward, and we're going to need that in this series.